So, when I sit down and play games, for some reason, I don't know why, but it helps when I look at like a list of like the top games or like the most talked about games, and I look at the ones that I haven't played, and I'm like, man, a lot of people talk about that game, and that's the one I'll start to play. So it like helps with my direction of like being surrounded by so many games, not only in my game room, but on like the availability of everything just through the subscription services and whatnot. I I just need something to like reel me in and just be like, hey man, play these, and then venture out.
Have you considered therapy?
Kind of, yeah. So I jumped in to the NES to start. I wanted to start with the NES. And I looked at the top 5 games of all time for the NES. And I took a combination of multiple lists. So I have a list from IGN. Say what you want about IGN and like their reviews and things that they do, but I their list matched with a lot of other ones.
I just think their developers should learn how to build a website.
I agree, and they should keep some of their views to themselves, but that's
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
So I took the list from IGN and I took a list from Nintendo Life because I really enjoy Nintendo Life on like YouTube and stuff. So, and a lot of the games were shared.
3
of the 5, yes.
There's 6 in the no, that's a total line. Never mind.
So around the board, the number 1 game of all time for the NES is Super Mario Brothers 3. That's on the top of everybody's list.
Who doesn't want to be a raccoon?
We can all agree that that's the best game on the NES.
No.
Excuse me?
No. Dude, I don't care if you get to be Trash Panda Mario or not. I don't think Super Mario Brothers 3 is the absolute best game on the NES.
Really? Is the top game on the NES in this list?
No.
Wow. Okay. Now I'm intrigued. I would put, for my own personal list, I would definitely put this at the top. 100%. It is a game that I can put on at any point, anytime, anywhere. If my daughter wants me to sit down and she wants to play 5 seconds of Mario 3 before she's like, on to the next, I'm going to play with Barbies instead, I will sit there and I will just continue to play it because I just can't help it. It is just that good. I don't need to say anything else about it because everybody else has said it for me. So I'll get to that at the end here. The number 2 game on the IGN list was the original Legend of Zelda. And on Nintendo Life, they had Mega Man 2 in this second slot. So I think I would personally put Zelda in the second slot over Mega Man 2 because I personally don't have nostalgia for Mega Man at all. And as somebody who went in and played Mega Man as an adult for the first time,
Hold up. You were never exposed to the Mega Man cartoon?
Mm-mm. Nope. Mega Man to me, I always saw people and their love for Mega Man, but I never like took the dive until
Hang on, I'm still processing.
being a full-grown adult. And I was like, Mega Man, I guess I'll check and see what this is all about. And they're good. Don't get me wrong. Like, I'm not saying it's not good. I wouldn't put it on my top 5 probably.
We need a time machine. We need to figure out how to bend space-time so I can make sure you get introduced to Mega Man at the proper age.
Yeah, I don't know how, like, I guess I didn't really I didn't have as much nostalgia and gameplay on the NES because right after I had gotten an NES and played it, it was time for the Super Nintendo to come out.
I mean, I had exposure to the NES. I didn't have one.
That was the first game system I had.
Like I was, my exposure to Mega Man initially was through the cartoon,
Really?
and then I got the game for Super Nintendo and was like, "This is amazing."
I think if I would have gotten introduced to Mega Man from those games, I think it'd be I'd have a different outlook on it.
So this is where I think Super Mario 3 would slot for me in number 2.
In number 2.
Probably, yeah. I mean, Trash Panda Mario is cool.
Then the number 3
Oh!
What?
They should have given him the eye things.
Well, I don't think he's a raccoon.
He's got a raccoon tail.
I know, but I think they call it Tanuki suit, and I think in Tanuki
The hell does that mean?
Tanuki means something in Japan, or it's like,
No shit.
well, I think it's like a certain animal, but it's not a panda. I don't know what it is. Or it's not a raccoon, I mean. That's what
They
I meant.
still should have given him the eye things. It would have looked cool. It would have made Mario look like a robber.
So the number 3 slot for the IGN list had the original Super Mario Brothers.
That does not belong on any list.
So, and then the Nintendo Life had Legend of Zelda in that slot. For me, I don't think the Super Mario Brothers original belongs in the top 5. I just don't. I mean, for what it was at the time that it was, 100% it has its place in history. But
That was a combo game.
yeah, well, it
For a
was it was a
reason.
standalone game, but they have the combo for it too.
Right. Well, I mean, let's be honest. Duck Hunt is the better game.
I mean,
Holy crap, yeah. So, never mind. Super Mario Brothers 3 is third for me. Duck Hunt is second. Because I can...
interesting.
Dude, Duck Hunt can keep my attention
Dude.
for hours.
You can't go.
I wish that they would make a Duck Hunt rifle.
Dude, that would, if they could somehow figure out a way to do Duck Hunt where you could do it like Big Buck Hunter, but it'd be Duck Hunt.
Dude, you could have done that with the Wii.
Yeah, dude, the Wii is not good when it comes to that. It is just not.
Reinvent it.
The number 4 slot for the IGN list had Mega Man 2, and the Nintendo Life list had Contra. So Contra being like the new kid on the block here in terms of these lists. I believe Contra does belong in the top 5. And this is, again, surprisingly enough, this is a game that I did not play as a kid and I experienced as a full-grown adult.
There's probably a reason for that.
I've seen everybody talk about Contra, and I just kind of was like, yeah, it's a run and gun, cool. It's not something that I played back then, and I got a wild hair one day, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to buy the Contra collection on my Switch, and I'm just going to go and play and see what it's all about, because I didn't have anything else to play, and I was just like, why not now? So I pulled it up and I played it, and I can understand. I mean, it's a fantastic game.
Are those playtimes?
Yes.
No way.
Well, they're
I want to know who can do that.
so we'll get to that after the top 5 here. So
And to that point in the next one, I want to know who takes that long.
So on the number 5 slot for the IGN, they had Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. And on the Nintendo Life, they had Punch-Out. So I don't have enough experience with the Castlevania series on the NES that I can say whether or not they belong in the top 5, especially with this one. I've played the first one and I've played the second one. I don't remember the third one. And the Punch-Out I have played. I didn't play it back when I was a kid. I played it as a full-grown adult. I think that definitely probably holds a place in the top 5.
I think Castlevania more so than Punch-Out. Punch-Out's fun and all, but it's not. I don't know. If you're only picking 5, yeah, no.
So out of I think the top 5 NES games of all time, in my personal opinion, are displayed here. For me, it goes Mario Brothers 3 at the number 1 slot, Legend of Zelda at the number 2, then it goes Contra at number 3, Punch-Out at number 4, and I guess no. So the number 5 spot for me would have to go to TMNT Manhattan Project. That game for me is one of my favorite Ninja Turtle games of all time, and it's just top notch.
So for me, coming in at number 5 is going to be Bigfoot. Remember that?
No, I've never heard of that.
I think it was called Bigfoot. I don't know. It was the monster truck game.
It was a monster truck game?
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Here we
Bigfoot.
go. Probably, dude. It's been what, 30 freaking years. My brain is fried after today.
Bigfoot. I'm trying to think of a monster truck game for the NES. Is it literally called Bigfoot?
Yep.
Okay. Never heard of it.
Yep, Bigfoot. So it was like really cool because you could do like tractor pulls and hill climbs and all kinds of stuff. I loved it. Number 4 for me is probably going to be Mega Man 2. Number 3 would be Super Mario Brothers 3. Number 2 would be Duck Hunt.
What is this number 1?
Can you guess?
I don't think
No
I
clue.
could. After you threw Bigfoot at me, I don't think.
Paperboy.
Ooh, that's a good one. That is a good one. Hard as nails, but
I literally, so growing up for a while, my neighbor was this like early 20s, I guess eventually late 20s because we all get older.
that is how time works.
Right. Delivery driver for Pizza Hut.
Mm-hmm.
And I pestered the living bejesus out of him on a routine basis to borrow Paperboy.
I remember playing Paperboy, and when I would get like past where I did before, I was like, "Oh my god, I did it!" And then I would just immediately get a game over. I'm like, "No!"
You always get caught by the dog.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever beaten that game. Is that a game you can beat, or is it just one of those games that like goes on and on and on until you eventually get a game over?
I have never gotten far enough to know. I mean, I would imagine that unless they created an infinite loop in the code, that there's got to be a kill screen or something somewhere, or like
Yeah,
some
I don't know
sort
if
of
it's something
ending.
that you can beat or if it's one that just like is kind of like a Tetris. But
I mean, most people
actually, I think there is an end to it.
most people typically don't put infinite loops in product. Like, it's just generally a bad idea because it can lead to a lot of problems. But
Yeah. But overall, like both of the lists, I think, are very, very, very solid choices of the NES. Because for the typical person that wants to revisit gaming history as a whole and maybe doesn't have any nostalgia for the NES and they just want to like get to where like things started, so to speak. Because I mean, for me, I always look at the NES as like some of the beginning of like what gaming is today and like how it got there. Because like I don't have nostalgia for for the Atari or the Intellivision or any of those
you missed out.
those things from the previous thing. I've tried.
We need to go buy an Atari.
I actually did buy an Atari so that I could go back and revisit like some of these things, but
Dude,
the
Pong.
Atari didn't work.
Pong.
I mean, yeah, I've played Pong.
Pong.
Yeah,
And the Atari control.
yeah, I have
It's
played Pong.
amazing.
So for this segment, if we're basing a list here, and I just went with the IGN list because it's probably one of the bigger, most known sources when it comes to like the internet and gaming. If I went to them and I went and looked at their top 5, the amount that I would spend on going to pick up these 5 games is $115. Now that's based on price charting. So it has Mario 3 at about $20, Zelda at about $30. These are all loose cart. The Super Mario Bros. You can get for $5 or cheaper if you're looking for it places, because you can get the combo carts for dirt cheap. If you're getting Super Mario Bros. As just a standalone cart, it's going to be a little bit more. Castlevania 3 is running about $30. So your average about $30, $20 to $30 per game. So based on the time to beat these games, if you go to a website called How Long to Beat, you can type in any game and it'll tell you a general. If you want to beat just the main story, it'll tell you about how long it takes to beat that story, give or take. Now, when it gets to NES games,
Give or take what, 5 hours?
when it gets to NES games, it's very, very, very skill dependent because those games are much more challenging. So you're probably going to spend more time than what is here to play these games.
Here's the thing. If you're 7 hours into The Legend of Zelda and you die,
yes, that's what I'm saying.
you have to add that 7 hours to the total for the second go round.
Zelda's kind of different because you get sent back to the beginning, but you have all of your equipment still. You just get sent to the beginning of the map, so you have to travel all the way back. So you don't lose 7 hours. So like here, Mario Brothers 3, it says it takes about 5 hours. I would say that can be less if you know how to use the warp whistles and stuff. I mean, you can go from world 1 to 8 in like a minute and a half.
Oh, that's right. You're one of those rewind guys.
I could do that without a rewind right now.
I knew that you were that type.
You get the warp whistle in level 3, and you get the warp whistle in the castle, and then you're at world 8, all just like that. You have to beat world 8, obviously, without any power-ups and stuff from the game. So,
Are you the dude in level 2 for Mario 1 that bounces through the ceiling and goes to? Yeah.
Yep. Yes, I am. So, I mean, you can spend less than 5 hours, or you can spend more than 5 hours if you're just a casual playthrough, just looking around, trying to find secrets and stuff like that. Generally, you're going to spend about maybe 5 hours to beat Mario 3. But the beautiful thing about Mario 3 is it has endless playability. I can play this game forever because it's just that good. Am I going to play it constantly, like every single day? No, I'm not that guy. But I can play it multiple times a year, probably. If I had to guess, I'd probably have to say that I play it multiple times per year.
Well, obviously, you're not that guy. You're that guy that goes and gets the fucking warp whistle and says, "Okay, I'm done." Bet it gets boring.
No, it does. That's the thing.
No.
After I've been playing it for 30 years.
You embrace the shortcuts.
That's the part of the game, is getting the secrets, finding the secrets.
Do they fulfill you?
Yes. Yes, they do. The Legend of
I'm actually pissing him off today.
The Legend of Zelda, it's looking at about 8 hours to beat it. I would say that's probably going to be much longer, because this is a game that does not tell you where to go. It loosely tells you where to go.
Dude, Zelda,
very loosely.
Do not plan to leave your house.
It is more just exploration and figure it out kind of gameplay. And that naturally is just probably going to take more than 8 hours. However, it's an enjoyable experience.
Can I rephrase that?
Yes.
Zelda is literally a wander around and get pissed off in an hour, look it up, then figure out what you got to do.
The only time I got mad at Zelda is when you get in the Lost Forest. I think that's what it's called, the Lost Forest or whatever. It's where you have to... You're on like this endless screen if you don't go like the correct way. It's like up, left, down, left, or something like that.
There was a Zelda for Game Boy, yeah?
Yeah.
That's how my Game Boy ended when I was 8.
The original Super Mario, I mean, 2 hours, that's probably correct, because with the warp, you don't get a crazy warp like in Mario 3, but you do get to warp, and I mean, the regular Mario is just...
Isn't there a second warp?
Yeah. Yeah, it's... You get the warp to...
It's 3, 4, or 5 in the first one, right? Or no, is it 2, 3, 4?
I think it might be 2, 3, 4. So you get the warp to 4, and then you get another one that takes you to 6, I think. It's been a hot minute since I played the original Mario, but if you like Mario games, you're probably going to like the original Mario. It's just a very bland Mario, but I will still pick this game up, and I will still play it, and I will still enjoy it. It's just the nature, because it was the first video game I ever played. So it just has a special place. So I will pick it up and play it.
Might keep my attention for 20 minutes.
Mega Man 2 says about 3 hours. Now, I would say that's probably much longer, because this game is challenging. Very challenging. And when it comes to like beating the forget what they're called. It's like the bosses of every level. Plus at the end you have to beat them all in a row, and you have to know their weaknesses and this and that. Like, it's a tough game. And if you can beat it in 3 hours on your first playthrough, you are a freak of nature. Castlevania 3, it takes 4 hours. Like I said, I don't really have nostalgia for Castlevania 3, and I don't really know much about it. So I
feel like that's right.
I would probably always say like probably a little bit longer. So in general, if you went out, bought an NES, or you had an NES that you found in the garage of your parents' house or your grandparents' house or what have you, and you wanted to go pick up, like, you Googled the top 5 or whatever because you wanted to buy 5, you'd be spending $115, and you'd be getting roughly 22 to 30 hours based on the how long to beat times to beat these games. I think you're going to get much, much more playtime out of that than 22 hours. I think you're probably going to get close to 60 if I had to guess. I would say probably about 60 hours, give or take, with some of the more challenging games like Mega Man and possibly Castlevania.
I mean, if you throw Bigfoot in there, you can make it last as long as you want.
But it goes to show, I mean, you can get some of the top NES games of all time for, if you're smart about it and do it the right way, you can get it probably for about $100, which is right around what you're going to spend for a brand new game.
And if you're dumb and dishonest, you can get it for free.
Well, yeah. But with the classic NES, you can always find deals on like Marketplace or Craigslist if you still use that for some reason. Whatever place that you go to that, you know, maybe your local shop or your thrift stores or what have you, like secondhand stores of some sort, you can find NES stuff for, you know, probably under what price charting would have it for, depending on where you go.
If you go to Marketplace, be careful. Don't meet people in alleyways or at night.
That is very true. And be wary of their profile, because I do a lot of Facebook Marketplace deals of like buying stuff from people and selling stuff, and there are some shady people on there, and they just want to scam you, and like there's a bunch of just weird, intricate types of ways to scam you. So if you look at their profile and you don't feel right about it, just skip out on it. Just pass. Somebody else will come by and buy what you're selling, and they will be much more trustworthy. Unfortunately, it's gotten to that point where everybody just wants to scam everybody just to make some easy money, because unfortunately it's become that easy. People just get like really people have gotten dumber and more what's the word I'm looking for? More
Gullible?
Gullible, yes. Yeah, more gullible.